welcome to the 48 Blocks. My name is Chung-Fan Chang, and I am here today to share two of my videos and a little bit of background of my two videos. So first, I would like to just share my screen. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit of the background that I have growing up in Taiwan, which is a small island by China. I received a formal education, which was rooted in a lot of realistic and technical aspect of painting, drawing, Chinese painting, etc. So these are just some of the previous work that I have done during my school year, like high school, college, things like that. So just kind of give you a little bit of background of my training. I became interested in Chinese brush painting. It's always part of the education and training for artists or craftsmen. So the aspect of the scholarly rocks and the texture strokes, the aspect of the brush strokes, the texture that it creates really got me very interested in an early age, and later I incorporate in my work. So these are just some of the images that are from the old master. I have tons of images, so I'm gonna go as quickly as I can within 30 minutes, including showing you the two videos. And I will take questions at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to write it down for now, and then I'll answer at the end. So I'm also very interested in the formal aspect of painting, such as the color, the form, the composition that was inspired by the old master, and also where I was growing from, like busy streets with a lot of neon signs, colorful, and very crowded, overly crowded space. And same as the cultural aspect of the temples, festivals from different temple and gods during the year. There's a lot of folk decoration on the streets that you can see in Taiwan, especially during the festival. There's a festival coming up in September that I was so looking forward to, which is based on the lunar calendar. We're about to go into the month, the ghost month. So we celebrate and also pray for them to be nice. All right, so and when I moved to United States, I started my grad school in Savannah College of Art and Design, and I started a series of drawings that's mostly abstract, and just talk about the texture, and like really homesick and try to find new media and new ways of visual kind of art making to create textures. So I became familiar with the new media, which is the thick ballpoint pen that we all use in America. In Taiwan, because we write a very complicated characters, so our ballpoint pen is a little bit different than the ballpoint pens in America, which is very thick because you don't need very thin ballpoint pens to write English letters. So that was a little subtle cultural differences that I received. And I started exploring with American ballpoint pens to create textures of sort of mimic the Chinese texture. So during the process of making, I started hearing a lot of different sounds. So sounds is always part of the work, especially during the making. So I became interested in hearing the sound and also seeing the visual results. But I wasn't aware of how that sound could become music or noise till later I started to do installations in the space. So I'm just gonna run through some of my previous paintings that was influenced by the Chinese scholar and also the colors that conflict with the nature. I became interested in working with space while displaying paintings, and also became interested in incorporate drawing with painting in the space and see how the two elements will respond to one another with lighting, with space, and with different level of viewing point. And also like the nature of paint and nature of drawing that was reflected by the same surfaces or different surfaces with same lighting. So again, the sound of drawing is always in the back of my mind during the studio time, doing gallery install, and a lot of repetitions and a lot of trying error by the way I draw, the speed, different speed, and also strengths. So I started doing a series of drawing installation on site since 2010, and these are some of the examples. And so back to the influence by the texture strokes by the Chinese paintings, we call it 𝗬，which is a different kind of texture strokes. So in Chinese painting, formally, scholarly like use color, drop texture stroke, X-cut texture stroke, spot ink texture stroke, or interior wrinkle texture stroke. Those are just some of the many kind of like dictionary. There's a dictionary of texture stroke just for different way of mimic the nature. So I became interested in using ballpoint pen to kind of mimic different value and different textures. And some of the results looks like hair, some of it looks like clouds. So it depends on how the viewer interpret it. So and I like the gestures of working with circle movement because I think it's a very natural way of moving the hands. So most of the textures were created by circular movement, by different speed, different intensity, different, sometimes I'll hold pencils like ballpoint pens like chopsticks, or holding more than one pen just to test out how the sound created by different pens or multiple pens, or the strength of the pen that I use. So these are some of the installation shots. This one is an exhibition in Taiwan in 2013. And I continue to explore, and a lot of the process in the studio or in the gallery space is just very isolated. So the sound becomes a very powerful part of the art making that I wish to share with the audience. So I start to record some of the sound and look for people that I can collaborate with. So these are just more. So since 2014, I started working with my former colleague from the music department and also photography, and to create a series of experimentation with different sound of drawing instruments. So for example, the most common one, the pencils or Sharpies, or different kinds of pencils on different supports. So we started recording about 12 different materials on different surfaces, and create a series of 30 seconds take for the first video. These are just the still shots of the video, and I'll play right away. Let me know if you can hear the sound. Be a little bit. These are the raw footage of the 30 seconds. So these are some of the examples from the real video, And I wanted to just show you the raw footage of the recording. And this is the first video drawing noise that we were created in 2014. It's about 5 minutes. So I wanted to stop sharing for a quick second just to see if there's any questions that was in the chat that I can resolve at the moment. Okay, all right, let me go back. It looks like there's no questions, or if you have any questions so far before I move to my next video, feel free to unmute. And thank you again for being here. All right, I'm gonna continue to talk about my next video. All right, I'm gonna skip some of these, the class. But we were really interested in different other sounds. Like we're talking about how to make the sound of drawing into music, and do we envision the with it as a dancer or performer in the space. So there's a lot of dialogue between how to introduce the dancer, which is the ballpoint pen, to different dancers, to a group of dancers, to in the space, in with different speed, with different intensity, slow, start with slow and move to fast. And to work with this and start to expanding different color, ballpoint pens. These are the still shots from the some of the drawing installation from the past. So especially working with color ballpoint pens are extremely difficult because then black, just because the ink and then the variation of the ink. So I started working with 𝗘𝗃𝗃 in the exhibition in my 2000. So we did a little collaboration between stickers and drawing station. These are some of the still shots from incorporate stickers with drawing on site. And you can see a little bit of detail of stickers, of images versus the texture stroke of the ballpoint pen with colors and different. I continue to work with style motion of a circle motion of creating lines and values. And these are some other shots. I did an installation in 2015 in the Contemporary Art Center in New Orleans, which was a big collaboration between myself and the museum and the broader community, which was a very fun event. I continue to, again, explore different colors and different scales and intensity of the ballpoint pens. Working with children, I mean, these are some of the still shots, but during the process, it's really rewarding to the community as they are creating a piece all together as a mural, or it can be artists or children. So I did one in Contemporary, but I also did one in Atlantic City. So this is supposed to say Atlantic City abstractly. And this was the space before installing. And this was after with local artists. That was a fun experience, and I continue to explore the drawing practice on product. This is my second art series in 2017. I think it was in the winter time. So I made stickers. I made stickers and I just put them on to the honey bear because I thought
the idea of honey bear was controversial because there was no real honey in there. And yet the honey bear was so iconic in every household's cabinet. It was selling in different ways as I grew up in Taiwan. I never knew about honey bear until I'm in America. So the product, how the consumer recognize the product and how the industry, the honey industry packaged the honey very successfully here. This was the opening view. I collaborate with Joyce Hagan, the director of Atlantic City Arts Foundation. So we did exchange honey bears, so everybody can, all visitors can bring something to exchange with the island. So to see what the community will bring together. Again, continue to explore with space, and some of my drawing installation, I start to open up to audience participation after the installation finished. So there's the installation was never completed until the audience or visitors put a piece onto it. And I start collecting different pieces from the audience in different spaces. Those are just some of the examples. And then I'm so interested to see how other people's are interpreted using the same medium with different kind of hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, different kind of ways of creating images. And this was installation that I did in Stockton Art Gallery back in 2018. I incorporated with a piece with 160 different squares, and I invite all my classes, students to participate on the first day of the class. So they were like super uncomfortable on the first day of the class, and then to break all the rules and draw onto the wall that they were told not to do their life. So that was a fun experience, and then we did a couple classes all together, and then some of them come after and finish the piece in the gallery. And I was recording the sound of collectively of all 20 people, 20 students, over more than 10 students. So which was a very interesting experience. That led me to the next video that I collect in 2018. So I'm gonna stop sharing. This was just completed in 2018. 2000 this year. So all right, so this is again a continuing exploration from the drawing noise and to explore the ambient sound, and continue to question how the sound of a drawing can become music, the nuance of the surface textures can be heard. Right, the time is 9:29. I want to see caption and just see if there's any other questions about these two videos. The second video, as you can see, we transition from viewing each ballpoint pen as a dancer to each circles as a characters. So you can see a lot of different circles, bubbles, that respond with one another and how they've been introduced in the space fast and different speed and they disappear in different timing. We also view each circles as a space in this, or a planet in a space, in the cosmos or the sort of unknown aspect of experimentation. So thank you for being here, and let me know if you have any questions, and I will return the platform back to 48 blocks AC. And I hope you'll have a good night. And this is actually morning in Taiwan. Thank you all for being here again, and hope you guys have a good night and good morning from Taiwan.